Do you want it to sparkle or explode? That was Olivia's standing question to the marketing team every time they finalized a campaign. Today, it was neither. Today, it was oxygen masks and duct tape. She stood in the middle of conference room B, sleeves rolled up to her elbows, hair coiled into the kind of bun that said, "I haven't slept since Monday, and I don't care who knows it." On the giant touchscreen in front of her, finalized launch roadmap glowed like a battle plan, color-coded milestones, embargo times, influencer activations, tiered release strategies, even backup plans for the backup plans. She'd crafted it all. Every pixel, every damn breadcrumb of hype. And now it was 7 days from launch. Jason Ray's pre-recorded campaign content was set to go live on Wednesday, an exclusive video series, tie-in fitness challenge, and a surprise reveal on late-night TV. Logistics were so tight you could bounce a quarter off them. Years of industry, grit had sculpted her into the kind of woman who knew how to make chaos behave. And for once, everything was humming. Everything except Bryce. The new CEO had just wrapped a Zoom with investors, still sipping from his tiny, smug espresso cup as he wandered into her war room. 37 years old, all tech bro sheen and zero calluses. VC darling parachuted in from a failed cryptocurrency startup with enough buzzwords to choke a TED talk. Olivia, he beamed, spreading his arms like he invented air. Just got off with Sandwell Partners. They're ecstatic about what we're pulling off. Couldn't stop talking about the product vision. She nodded once, still tracking campaign metrics on her iPad. Good to hear. If they're happy, we're on pace. He smiled wider than he should have. Of course, a lot of that's thanks to your groundwork. Years of foundation. And we're lucky to have had you during this phase. She didn't flinch, but she noticed it. Like a shift in barometric pressure before a tornado. He kept going. It's just, when we look at burn rate projections and operational overhead. I mean, senior leadership has some dense salary layers. Her eyes never left the screen. And yet, are the reason we're within a 4-point margin of Amazon's launch velocity last quarter. Bryce gave a chuckle. A politician's chuckle. Totally agree. I'm just saying, after this launch, we'll have to reassess how lean we can be. The air between them got sticky. I'd start by slashing the ping-pong table budget, she muttered, almost to herself. He pretended not to hear. She pretended not to give a damn. Here's what Olivia knew that Bryce didn't. Jason Ray wasn't just a brand partner. They were childhood friends. The kind that grew up sharing war stories from divorced homes and detention slips. She knew his mom's lasagna recipe. She'd covered for him during a cheating scandal in his rookie season. Hell, her godson called him Uncle Jay. Bryce thought Jason was a glorified Instagram ad slot. Olivia knew he'd walk through fire for her if she asked the right way, but she didn't tip her hand, not yet. Okay, Bryce clapped his hands, turning toward the door. Keep me posted on any new risks. Otherwise, let's keep momentum. We're 7 days from something historic. He left without waiting for an answer. She stood there, alone in her launch cathedral, eyes flicking across the timeline. Behind her, one of the junior analysts walked in, Jess, fresh out of grad school and still high on oat milk and ambition. Olivia, Jess said carefully, just wanted to say, "This whole thing, it's incredible. You make it look easy." Olivia glanced up, and for a moment her hard edges softened. "Kid," she said, grabbing her coffee, "it only looks easy because I've already bled for it." And as she turned back to the screen, reviewing final social drops, ad rotations, and embargoed content, she felt it again. That shift, not panic, not dread, something quieter, more surgical. Gut instinct of a woman who knew she was being studied by wolves. And the faintest scent of blood was starting to leak into the water. The chair in HR was gray, plastic, and wobbled slightly when Olivia sat down. No one had offered her coffee. No one said good morning, just a closed door and a forced smile from Carol in HR, a woman who once cried during the Bachelor recap, but now blinked at Olivia like she was filling out a DMV form. Bryce was already seated. No blazer, just a slim-fit Henley shirt and the kind of vacant confidence you only get from never being told no long enough. "Olivia," he said, like he was about to congratulate her on winning a scratch-off ticket. "Thanks for coming." She raised an eyebrow. "You summoned me with urgent compliance matter. Thought maybe I accidentally hired a child soldier in PR." Carol let out a single, nervous laugh. Bryce didn't. Folded his hands and leaned forward, the way men do when they think eye contact is currency. "I'll just be honest. This isn't about performance. You've been beyond exceptional." Her stomach clenched. Her spine didn't move. We're restructuring leadership. He continued to stay agile post-launch. The board's been pressuring us to optimize resources. That means reallocating expensive senior talent. Expensive. Not essential, not irreplaceable. Not the woman who built your crown jewel from scratch while you were still hawking crypto diets on LinkedIn. No, just expensive. Effective today, Carol piped in, like a ghost in a corporate horror movie, your employment will be terminated without cause. You'll receive 12 weeks severance and continued health care through Q3. There's an NDA attached to the exit package. We'll need your keycard and access badges. Bryce gave her a smile like he was offering her a ride home from a party. We're still incredibly grateful. This launch, none of it would have been possible without your brilliance. But with Jason locked in and the plan in motion, we're confident this ship sails either way. A long, cavernous silence followed. Olivia stared at the man who had just gutted her career with a thank you and a spreadsheet. She thought about the 3 years it took to win Jason's trust, endless nights coordinating R&D and influencer strategy, the midnight Zoom calls with Taiwan, the brand therapy she gave interns who cracked under pressure. She thought about how Jason only signed on because she was there. And Bryce thought Jason was locked in. He didn't know anything, not the late-night phone calls, not the loyalty, not the very real, unshakable brotherhood that couldn't be bought with equity or merch codes. Still, Olivia didn't twitch, cry, didn't blink more than once. She reached into her purse, pulled out her keycard, placed it on the table. Then she took out a second item, a thumb drive, unlabeled, and laid it next to the card like an offering. "What's this?" Carol asked. Olivia smiled faintly. "Finalized campaign scripts, alternate versions. Contingency B, you're going to need them." Bryce looked confused for the briefest second, then nodded like he understood. He didn't. "Any final questions?" Carol asked, already printing the exit docs like a prison warden scheduling yard time. Olivia stood slowly, buttoned her blazer, and gave Bryce one last look, long, cool, and surgically precise. "No questions," she said, "but you should probably check Jason's contract again." Then she walked out. One small box in her arms, her nameplate, a mug that said Launch Queen, and her iPad wiped clean, not before she transferred the latest influencer communication timelines to her personal cloud. The walk from HR to the parking garage was quiet. No send-off, no speeches, just a few glances from people who didn't know whether to smile or look away. She didn't care. She opened her car door, slid the box onto the passenger seat, and stared out the windshield for a full minute. Then she picked up her phone, scrolled to Jason's name, and hit call. Answered on the second ring. "Liv, they fired me," she said, just like that. No preamble, said I was too expensive. Silence. Then a low, incredulous exhale. "Are they? What the hell? I told you. Bryce is all optics. He thinks because he's got you inked, he owns the narrative." Jason didn't say anything for a moment. Then, "You want me to post something?" She stared out at the garage exit, the automatic gate rising slowly as if it sensed a storm rolling through. "Not yet," she said softly. "But don't answer their calls, already blocked." A tiny smile flicked across her lips, and for the first time that day, Olivia allowed herself a breath. Not of peace, of precision. The box on the passenger seat rattled when she turned left out of the parking garage. Inside, a framed photo from the New York launch 5 years ago, a half-empty bottle of migraine pills, and her mug, the one that said, "I have a launch for that," in chipped gold lettering. Everything else she left behind. Let them keep the ergonomic chair, the color-coded campaign boards, the whiteboard marker that still smelled like lavender death. She didn't cry. Instead, she drove in silence, the hum of the highway like a dull heartbeat in her ears. Her hands were steady, her pulse, not so much. By the time she reached the bluff outside the city, the sky had folded itself into a pale bruise. Olivia parked at her usual spot, cracked overlook where the Wi-Fi barely reached, and nobody gave a damn if you screamed into the wind. She didn't. She just rolled down the window, lit the emergency cigarette she kept hidden in the glove box for end-of-the-world moments, and dialed the number that mattered more than any boardroom in that building. Jason answered halfway through the second ring. "Tell me you just butt-dialed me from the Cayman Islands." "No," she said, voice level, smoke curling from her lips. "Fired me?" He didn't respond right away. She could hear him breathing. She pictured him pacing. Probably shirtless, probably in those ridiculous slippers that made him look like a retired boxer at a beach resort. "What?" Just like that, she said. "HR. Bryce. Whole spiel. Said I was too expensive. With Jason locked in, we'll be fine." That was the quote. Jason didn't laugh, he didn't curse, he seethed. You built that campaign, he said, low and sharp. Hell, built that company. And this VC knockoff thinks he can boot you like a busted router. Olivia didn't answer. I told you, Jason went on, that guy always looked like a Dollar Tree Tim Cook, just with worse ideas and better hair gel. She took another drag. Well, now he's got the reins. 7 days to launch, and they just amputated the brain. You want me to post something, he asked. Tell people the truth? I'll do it right now. Imagined his finger hovering over the app. One post from Jason and the comment section would eat Bryce alive. Investors would be calling in the middle of the night. But Olivia wasn't after chaos. Not yet. No, she said. We wait. Wait for what? For them to sweat. A pause, then a grin in Jason's voice. God, I love when you get like this. Strategic and surgical, like a Bond villain in yoga pants. She flicked ash out the window. I've got the roadmap. The influencer tears. I know every fail point in that campaign better than they do. If I wanted to kill it, I could, but they'd know it was me. Jason's voice dipped to a whisper. So don't kill it. Just let it rot. She smiled, bitter and clean. Exactly. You want me to tell the other sponsors to hold off on posting? I know a couple of them trust me more than that PR bot they looped in. Yes, quietly. No formal statements, no shade, just silence. That, Jason said, I can do. He stayed on the phone for another few minutes, not talking much. Just breathing, just sitting in the belly of betrayal, letting it digest. Olivia looked down at her fingernails, chipped with stress. Her reflection in the rearview mirror didn't look broken. She looked awake. Hey, Jason said finally, for what it's worth, you're the reason I ever signed on, not them, not the product, not the paycheck. You, I know. Silence again, but warmer now. Less jagged. She ended the call, flicked the cigarette into the gravel, and turned her key in the ignition. Back to the city, back to the grid. She didn't need revenge. She needed precision. She needed silence. She needed time. And above all, she needed them to never see her coming. The first ripple came at 8:12 a.m. on a Thursday. A single tweet from Jason Ray's official account, posted without fanfare or hashtags. No attached brand. No campaign logos. Just black text on a white background. Funny how loyalty works until money walks in. 8 words. No context. Within 15 minutes, the internet was on fire. Jason's 18 million followers went full conspiracy mode. Was he talking about his old team, a coach, a brand deal gone bad? Reddit threads popped up dissecting the timestamp. A TikTok influencer stitched the tweet with side-eye, and the caption, y'all realize his big launch is next week, right? It alone racked up 500,000 views before lunch. At 9:04 a.m., someone unearthed an old photo of Olivia and Jason at charity gala, him in a tux, her in a navy dress, laughing like war veterans who just survived a PR landmine. Didn't she work at the same company as his new deal? One user posted. By 10:00 a.m., the whispers had teeth. Olivia watched from her couch, legs folded beneath her, a glass of Cabernet in one hand, her phone in the other, not smiling, not gloating, observing. The company's first response came at 11:13 a.m. A beige Instagram story from their PR team with white text that read, "We are proud to work with passionate, independent voices like Jason Ray. We stand by our partners. #Transparency Week, tone deaf." It read like it was crafted by a committee that forgot how people actually speak. 10 minutes later, they deleted it. 15 minutes after that, they reposted a clarified version that tried to pivot the message. We love Jason. We're focused on launch week. All love, no drama. It tanked harder. Comment section full of snake emojis and popcorn gifs. Meanwhile, Olivia sat cross-legged in sweatpants, scrolling and screenshotting everything. Every panic-drenched post. Every edited caption. Every influencer who suddenly stopped tagging the brand in their stories. He wasn't orchestrating anything, but she didn't need to. Silence was the strategy, and silence was starting to scream. At 12:47 p.m., she got a text from an old coworker, Brenda, a nervous but well-meaning mid-level brand manager who used to color-code spreadsheets and cry during quarterly reviews. Brenda, what is happening? Did Jason pull out? They canceled the 2 p.m. campaign alignment call. Olivia didn't respond, opened a private folder on her cloud drive labeled Launch Pulse V2 and uploaded the newest screenshots. Then she set her phone down and took a long sip of wine. By 2:00 p.m., a startup blog posted an article titled, "Did Jason Ray just subtweet his own sponsor?" By 3:00 p.m., investors started asking questions. By 4:00 p.m., Olivia's inbox, her personal one, but a message from a mid-tier journalist she once briefed on background during a product recall in 2019. Subject line, off record, anything you can share? She didn't reply, but she didn't delete it either. Instead, she switched to her laptop, toggled through the campaign asset backups she had exported before her keycard stopped working. She clicked through the schedules. Tuesday teaser, Wednesday influencer wave, Thursday livestream. All of them still intact. All of them dependent on Jason and his circle. The CEO didn't understand that virality wasn't just an algorithm. It was a pulse, a pattern of trust, momentum, and timing. You can't force loyalty with contract language. You earn it with respect, and you lose it by swinging an axe at the wrong throat. And Bryce had no damn clue. At 6:23 p.m., she opened her wine app and rated the bottle. Pairs well with digital implosions. She turned off notifications and went to bed. Not because she was tired, because she knew the real unraveling hadn't even started yet. By Monday morning, the campaign room smelled like burned toast and desperation. The projectors were still running. The whiteboard still bloomed with Olivia's marker ink. But the rhythm, the pulse she'd tuned that room to like a Stradivarius, was gone. Meetings started late. Deadlines slipped by unnoticed. Someone misspelled announcement in the teaser banner, and no one caught it until the designer's sister tagged the brand in an Instagram story saying, y'all okay?" Olivia's seat was technically filled now. 2 people, actually. Bryce had split her role between an analytics director from Boston, who thought the word engagement meant Excel formulas, and a 32-year-old with influencer experience who once ran an aggressive TikTok campaign for oat milk. Both of them were in over their heads. Drowning, really. And the lifeboat had been incinerated the moment Bryce smiled and handed Olivia a severance envelope. At 9:40 a.m., the social media intern emailed the brand team, just checking, should we still post the Tuesday teaser with Jason's quote? The sentiment feels off now, nobody replied. At 10:17 a.m., the first influencer backed out of a cross-promotion. At 10:48 a.m., second one postponed indefinitely. By noon, the Slack channel titled #Launch Hype Week had been renamed #General Campaign Questions, and the only thing posted in it all day was a confused intern asking if the event dress code was still cool casual or just black. Meanwhile, Olivia was at a coffee shop 2 blocks from headquarters, sipping an Americano and watching everything unfold on her private feeds. Not on the public pages, the PR facade. He had access to the real ones. Group DMs, Discord channels, whispered influencer threads where everyone compared contracts and timing and asked each other one question on loop. Did Jason pull out? And while no one answered publicly, Jason had already sent a quiet message to the 10 key influencers. Just wait, trust me. Don't post anything this week. Just hold. And they listened. Not because he paid them, because they trusted him, because Olivia taught them how. At 1:06 p.m., Olivia's phone buzzed. "Tasha, ex-coworker, I swear to God this place is imploding without you. We're having a meeting to prep for the prep meeting. Bryce just said let's circle the synergy wagon. I think I blacked out." She smiled. Not big, not evil. Just the kind of smile you make when the plane that threw you off mid-flight starts sputtering midair and you realize you still have the parachute. The landing zone knows your name. At 2:34 p.m., the new campaign lead misfired an email meant for internal PR. An escalation scenario draft accidentally BCC'd to a list that included 3 lifestyle bloggers, 1 fashion editor, and a food critic. The subject line, "IF Jason drops. We pivot with Tier 2 assets, downplay Olivia's legacy, focus on the vision." It took 3 minutes for a screenshot to hit Twitter. By 3:10 p.m., tweet had 11,000 likes and a ratio worse than a Nickelback comeback album. Bryce responded, as expected, with a post on LinkedIn. It read, "True innovation requires bold moves. We're building a future, not a comfort zone. Stay tuned, big week ahead." Underneath, the comments grew teeth. Did Olivia build that future you just fired? Funny how the comfort zone had results. Define bold, alienate your whole campaign. By 5:00 p.m., Bryce locked his profile, deleted the post. But it was too late, because chaos, once unleashed, doesn't knock politely on the front door. It rips the hinges off and starts rearranging the furniture. And Olivia, she was still sipping coffee, still collecting screenshots, still letting gravity do the work. The campaign wasn't dead yet, but it was starting to smell funny. The lobby smelled like eucalyptus and wealth. Not the new money kind either, old wealth, seasoned with legacy patents and 5-star NDAs. Olivia walked through the revolving glass doors of Stratus Tech HQ in a navy trench coat, sunglasses still on, though the sky outside had turned molasses gray. No announcement. No assistant. Just her and a 3-minute security check before the elevator carried her up to the 42nd floor, where the carpets were quiet. The coffee came with oat milk by default, and nobody dared say the word synergy. Waiting for her in the executive conference room, Karen Leung, SVP of Strategic Acquisitions for Stratus Tech, and Marcus Feld, their quietly terrifying legal counsel who once dismantled a billion-dollar contract over a misplaced M-dash. Olivia didn't flinch. She simply removed her coat, placed her phone face down on the table, and opened her folder. "What I'm about to show you," she said, "is not sabotage. It's gravity. All I'm doing is letting a broken campaign collapse under its own bloated weight. If you're ready to catch what falls, now's the time to decide." Karen leaned forward. "Let's see it." What followed was 20 minutes of controlled demolition. Olivia laid out the full launch roadmap, their launch roadmap. She explained the misfired influencer strategy, the time-sensitive dependencies that were already unraveling, weaknesses Bryce had created by assuming loyalty could be contracted instead of earned. Then she opened her laptop and showed the media projections Jason had helped her draft. Not endorsements, not promises, just potential. Karen and Marcus exchanged a glance, the kind that confirmed 3 things without saying a word. They'd already heard rumors. They were already circling. They had just found their spearhead. "If Jason pivots to us," Karen said carefully, "want more than just his face. We want the story, the fallout. We want to own the redemption arc." Olivia raised an eyebrow. "Then let me write it," they smiled. By the time she walked out of that office, her trench coat slung casually over her arm, she had in her possession a preliminary offer of contract, consulting at first, with equity, with autonomy, with full access to a campaign budget triple what Bryce had slashed in her final quarter. A digital phoenix fund, built to rise from someone else's ashes. Outside, her phone buzzed. "Jason, all quiet on my end. Want me to tease something yet?" She paused under the windswept awning, watching the clouds roll low over the skyline. "Olivia, not yet. Let Bryce breathe. Let him think the storm's past." She waited. Jason's reply came back with a winking emoji. "Jason, you're evil. I love it." That afternoon, Bryce posted again. Another performative puff piece on LinkedIn, full of arrogant sunlight. "When we streamline for innovation, we invite friction. But friction polishes the stone. Proud of this team for pushing forward. Stay tuned for the most ambitious launch yet." Olivia read it on her laptop while stirring lemon into her tea. Then, calmly, deliberately, she hit the like button. The comments were already tearing him apart. Underneath the inspirational drivel, a former intern wrote, "Can't polish a turd, Bryce." Olivia was the polish. The like count was rising. She closed her laptop. By evening, her calendar was filled. Investor dinners, NDA briefings, press whisper campaigns starting to stir the waters without ever saying her name. All Olivia had to do was step forward at the right time, and every eye would be waiting for the silhouette behind the curtain. She poured a glass of wine, not red this time. Champagne, just one flute, and she drank it to silence, kind of silence that only ever happens before an explosion. By Wednesday, the silence had become a character of its own, looming, spectral, humming beneath every corporate Slack ping like a warning siren with the batteries pulled out. There should have been a roar. With launch day 2 sleeps away, the brand's social feeds should have been volcanic. Teasers, countdowns, influencer hype storms, #get-ready graphics popping like confetti cannons. Instead, the timeline looked like a Midwest parking lot at 3 a.m., empty, underlit, vaguely sinister. Olivia scrolled through their Instagram out of habit, sipping black coffee at the corner booth of a bakery where no one knew her name. 3 posts in 48 hours. All of them beige, all of them ignored. She wasn't doing anything. She didn't need to. The strategy now was subtraction. Remove momentum and watch the rest decay in real time. Bryce, his usual PR delusion, had approved one last round of pre-scheduled posts, an awkward behind-the-scenes clip of a boardroom meeting, featuring exactly 0 people the internet cared about, and a gif of confetti that refused to load correctly on mobile. It cropped the company logo down to just "Confi," which felt cosmically accurate. But Olivia wasn't watching them. She was watching the absence of others. The influencers? Ghosted. Grid feeds stayed frozen. No tags, no hashtags, not even passive mentions in stories. Jason had told them to wait, and they were waiting like loyal soldiers in a war they didn't fully understand. And then came the spark. At 4:26 p.m., Jason dropped a cryptic post across all platforms. Black background, white text, simple. This week was supposed to be big. It still will be, just not how they planned. That was it. No tags, no links. Just that, it detonated in 20 minutes. Speculation thundered across Reddit like a stampede. Twitter churned up conspiracy threads faster than anyone could follow. Was he dropping a new project? Was he pulling out of the brand deal? Was it a diss? A misfire? A mistake? The company's social manager tried to neutralize the frenzy by posting a grainy throwback of Jason in company gear with the caption, "Still on track. We love our partners." Let's goo rocket the comment section ate it alive. Why does this read like a hostage statement? Did Olivia ghostwrite Jason's post? 'Cause this smells surgical. Still on track. Track to what, exactly? Ruin. Internally, panic was beginning to fog the halls. By 6:00 p.m., the brand team held an emergency Zoom titled Jason Comms Strategy Alignment. Someone forgot to mute their mic and said, "I feel like I'm watching a car crash in slow motion." Outside that building, on the 24th floor of Arrival HQ, Olivia sat in a sleek glass office, watching a muted live stream of a finance podcast where one of Bryce's investors nervously said, "Let's just say we're reevaluating our exposure depending on Thursday's reception." She turned the sound back off and picked up her phone. 7 unread texts from journalists. Bloomwire, can we talk off-record about the Jason fallout? Digital Beat, heard you're no longer with the team. Interested in your perspective. On background, Tech Trove, what's your read on the campaign silence? She replied to none. Her only answer, short, surgical, was sent to just one of them, no comment, which, of course, was a comment, the most loaded kind, a denial with gasoline in its teeth. At 8:12 p.m., her phone buzzed again. "Jason, final move tomorrow. You ready?" She took a breath, eyes still fixed on the slow crumble of a launch that thought it could amputate the architect and still reach the sky. She typed, "Let it burn, but make it beautiful." Then she powered down her phone and stepped out onto the rooftop patio. The sky above the city was swollen with storm clouds, quiet, heavy, theatrical, like the air itself knew something was coming. Launch day dawned like a funeral-wearing party makeup. Inside the company's headquarters, there were banners. There was catered fruit water. There were employees in branded hoodies trying to manifest excitement like it was a group project. Bryce stood in front of a glass wall, arms folded, chewing spearmint gum like a man waiting for a standing ovation. And on every calendar in the building, the time 10:00 a.m. was circled 3 times. That was when Jason Ray's campaign video was scheduled to drop. The file had been sent over days earlier, unlisted, embargoed, triple confirmed. No one had seen it except Bryce and the new PR lead. It was supposed to be a sleek, 90-second hype reel with branded workout gear, upbeat music, and a wink from Jason at the end. Instead, at 10:00 a.m. sharp, Jason posted his version. Not the branded one, not even close. It began with silence. Just him, alone, sitting on a plain couch, no music, no lighting team. Just natural sunlight falling across his face. It looked like he'd slept exactly 2 hours, and he spoke with the kind of clarity that comes from betrayal that settled into bone. "Hey everyone," he began. "This was supposed to be a celebration, a launch, a moment to hype something I believed in." A pause, but then something happened. He inhaled, slow, controlled. "Last week, the company behind this campaign fired someone I've trusted for over a decade, someone who built the entire foundation of what we were supposed to launch today. Her name's Olivia. If you've ever enjoyed anything I've done in the last 5 years, odds are she helped make it happen." He didn't cry. He didn't scream. He just sliced. "They told her she was too expensive. They told me I was locked in. They forgot that trust isn't a line item on a spreadsheet." Twitter caught the scent first. #ignited like flash paper. #justice for creators, #team Olivia, #launch without her effective immediately. Jason continued, "I'm pulling out. No promo, no launch. I won't be attending today's event. And I've advised every creator involved to make their own call, but I'm standing down." By the 2-minute mark, the video had 4 million views. By 10:20 a.m., their Instagram was flooded with comments tagging Olivia by name. By 10:33 a.m., the company's stock dropped 6%. By 10:40 a.m., Bryce was live on CNBC, sweating through his linen shirt under studio lights, trying to spin it all as unexpected turbulence. "We're still excited about the product," he lied, blinking too much. These things happen in high-velocity spaces. The team is laser-focused on delivering. The host, smiling tightly, replied, "And how do you respond to the allegations of a toxic internal culture and strategic mismanagement?" The Jason Ray video paints a pretty brutal picture. Olivia watched it all unfold from her office inside Stratus Tech's HQ. She didn't flinch. She didn't gloat. She just opened her laptop and refreshed the press dashboard. 7 outlets had already picked up the story. 4 more were pending. Inbox was a minefield of interview requests and glowing LinkedIn messages from ex-colleagues, suddenly remembering how essential she was. And in the corner of the screen, a little news alert pinged. Investor group demands leadership review following failed launch. She turned off the monitor, poured a glass of water, and for the first time in months, let herself exhale. A long, deliberate breath, equal parts relief and resolve. This wasn't revenge, it was restoration. And Bryce, he still didn't know the worst part. Tomorrow, the board would meet, and the only thing on the agenda, his replacement. By Friday morning, Bryce's name was wiped clean from the company's internal directory. No announcement, no farewell post. Just a leaked memo at 7:13 a.m. that read, "Effective immediately, Bryce Landon will step aside as CEO pending internal review. Day-to-day operations will be overseen by interim leadership." 3 sentences, no details, no spin, and yet the message rang louder than any press release ever could. He wasn't stepping down, he was being removed. The company's stock dropped another 3% by lunch. The investor calls were ice-cold and clinical. Strategic course correction, leadership realignment, mitigation of brand damage. The knives were out. Bryce just didn't hear them being sharpened until his head hit the table. Meanwhile, 3 floors above the chaos in a different part of the city, Olivia was walking into a different boardroom, this one wrapped in charcoal walls and quiet authority. No balloon arches, no motivational quotes on the walls, just polished steel and people who spoke in numbers and moved like chess pieces. Stratus Tech. She shook hands with Karen Leung and signed the last page of her consulting contract. The title was modest, Strategic Brand Architect. The scope, anything she wanted. Full budget authority, build her own team, set her own terms. The dotted line wasn't just inked, it was scorched into stone. And Jason, he'd already done his photo shoot that morning in Stratus's new merch line. The first teaser ad dropped by noon, Jason in a black windbreaker standing in front of a mural that said integrity, loyalty, velocity. Caption, new chapter, same voice. Let's build it right this time. It was clean. It was lethal. It stole every ounce of thunder from the rival company's shaky follow-up campaign, which had already been rebranded twice in 3 days, and was currently trending on TikTok under the hashtag #LaunchFlop2025. But Olivia didn't speak publicly. Not at first. She waited. She watched. She let the silence echo long enough for everyone to ask, "Where is she?" And then, at precisely 3:06 p.m. on Friday afternoon, she posted one sentence to her previously dormant LinkedIn account. Just one. "They thought I was expensive. Turns out I'm priceless." No hashtags, no images, no links. Within 20 minutes, it was trending in every marketing Slack from New York to San Francisco. Within 2 hours, it was on the front page of Adweek. Within the day, 3 former CMOs had reposted it with clapping emojis and thinly veiled comments like some people only recognize value after the invoice. Bryce, if he read it, didn't respond. And Olivia? She closed her laptop, walked out of the building, and stepped into a car that was already waiting. The driver nodded and pulled away. No fanfare, no pap photos, no applause. Just quiet, coiled power humming under her skin. As the skyline receded in the window, she thought about everything they'd taken from her. Then she thought about everything she'd taken back. The product? Let them keep it. The brand? Let them drown in it. The glory? She was already wearing it. It didn't shine like gold. It shimmered like silence. The kind that follows an earthquake. And in that stillness, Olivia smiled. Then vanished into the city exactly the way she'd planned. Big thanks, you legends of the old office days. Subscribe to keep the switch-flicking chaos alive. Your ex-boss is shaking in their loafers.